Welcome to FinTech TV. I'm Remy Blair. 2024 was a banner year for crypto major Bitcoin, gaining over 130%. Meanwhile, the major U.S. stock averages posted double-digit gains for the second year in a row. The S&P 500 soaring over 24% last year, while the equal weight index gained more than 11%. Well, joining me here at the New York Stock Exchange as 2025 gets underway is David Stryzewski, CEO of Sound Planning Group. David, great to have you here. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, pleasure to be with you.
Well, first and foremost, we know that 2024 was a banner year for the major U.S. stock averages, and we've kicked off 2025 with a bit of a shaky start. So tell me what you think is going on as the new year gets underway.
Well, I think that there's a couple of things that are happening right now. Everyone is reassessing what risk looks like. Everyone is reassessing what are real assets. Everyone is assessing what is this economy going to be now that we got the Trump bump, Tax Cuts and Jobs Act 2.0 that's about to just really get in. And as President Trump had just said, this is going to usher in the golden age of America. And I actually believe him, right? And I think we all should. So when we're looking at the markets right now, I think it's important to recognize maybe how wrong the market has been. And when I say how wrong it's been, all this last year, the market was telling us when we had bad reports, oh, that's okay, the Fed's going to cut. Good reports, you know what? We've even missed a recession. There's no problem here. And when we get neutral reports, we're told everything's a Goldilocks coming in right now for the smooth landing. And I personally believe that the Fed has been wrong about inflation the entire time. And so I'm a little bit critical of this, but only because their little moves have such massive impact on the average person, on business, on the world. And so we need to be critical and understand these things. And so where we're at right now, we're looking at the Fed cutting 1% at the end of last year, and yet now the 10-year Treasury is near 5%.
Yep.
It's gone backwards, it's gone up. There's a 135-point dispersion from what it should have done at this point. These type of abnormal moments are times where we maybe should sit back and have a little pause here for a second and understand that when you have multiple years back-to-back of big upsides, we get priced up pretty high, and then there's likelihood for new price discovery as the world continues to change. But I think that some of the crypto assets and things that we just discussed here are positioned really right to be going forward here. Doesn't matter what kind of shakeups are going to occur. This is the most pro-crypto president. 60% of Congress right now is pro-crypto. This is the moment in history where blockchain gets its opportunity to actually improve at a time when AI is even coming alongside and making things easier from a supply side.
And David, you brought up a lot of key words here, and here on Wall Street, as you mentioned, all eyes are on policy. So whether we're talking about monetary policy coming out from the Federal Reserve,
right,
or fiscal policy, or other types of policy coming out from the nation's capital, we know that these have implications when it comes to the U.S. economy, as well as how corporations function. So what do you think is already priced into the markets here, David?
There's not a lot that's actually priced into the market, honestly. I think that we're seeing the bond market, which is technically smarter than the stock market. Everyone, states this, and it's typically accurate. But the bond market is saying that they're going to demand a higher rate of return given what inflation looks like out here into the future. So as Jerome Powell's now admitting that inflation's here, Jerome Powell's now admitting that, a year from now we're going to have 0.1 higher on PCE, 2 years now it'll be the exact same place it is right now. That is a very different outcome from this Goldilocks, everything's moving and going in on a smooth landing. But as we're looking at the Trump bump, what is getting priced in right now is good speculation on the fact that he's going to be deregulating some areas and places that are probably making things less efficient. And so we should get some nice bumps on that. He's deregulating things like crypto. I mean, we got a new SEC chairman that's going to be coming in here in just a couple of weeks. And so this is an incredibly different, environment regulatorily as we move into the next generations of this stuff. I think we're also just looking at AI and technology and robotics, and I think that a lot of people are excited, but also maybe a little bit concerned that things are changing so much. I think that we're going to look at security and prioritize that in the future, and this is where I believe blockchain stands apart, and we don't even think about it so much from the security side, because we think everything else is kind of secure right now, and I think that there might be some surprises as we go down the road.
So David, you mentioned a lot of themes there. Of course, artificial intelligence, that has been front and center, especially when we think about the Mag 7 names.
Yes.
But before we get to that, I do want to ask you about crypto.
Sure.
So Bitcoin has outperformed the major US stock averages in 2024, and we saw that crypto major top the 100K level last year and even hit a high above 108,000. But we've been seeing so much volatility with that crypto major. But there are also other products out there, and whether we're talking about ETFs or altcoins or meme coins, there are a lot of spaces when it comes to crypto. So what are your thoughts on crypto majors as well as meme coin?
Yeah, sure. Well, you've asked a great question. So crypto majors like Bitcoin, it's interesting. You're seeing a lot of pumping and dumping with the price. We hit a certain level that people think it'll achieve, and then it gets sold and it goes down. There's also potentially some interesting things that are going on in that ETF space. It looks like there's maybe some weird selling that might be front running some things. So I don't know. All I can say is this: 94% of all Bitcoin has been already figured out. It's out there. The last 1 million coins will take us approximately another 100 years. So what is price discovery supposed to look like? I don't know. If Bitcoin's supposed to be $1 million a coin and 94% of all the coins are out there, I think I could make a simple argument that 940,000 per Bitcoin at this moment today in January 25 could be a real thing. But we're not having an opportunity to see the price discovery because of the manipulation that's going on here. So I think Bitcoin has some to prove because it's not been able to do the transactions really quick. But talking about another major would be Ripple. I personally think that Ripple is being looked at by the United States as a SWIFT system alternative, as we are looking at digitizing, tokenizing, and Ripple has the ability to kind of be like the internet and be this platform that can be the guardrails of the future, where we tokenizing with HBAR and XLM and different coins like this. But it's an exciting time. I'm just looking for the application so that we can now start talking to regular folks every day, and we can say, this is how this changes your life, not just here's the technology's name. And then you last mentioned meme coins. So I don't really understand the meme coins all that much, but I know this much. There's a significant following behind some of these. And so I'm not saying I'm not investing in some of them like Major, which is out here, and I'm making a ton of money on it right now. But there's some interesting things to look at. So these stories thematically, and people are really gravitating to them and pursuing them. And so it's an exciting thing to be figuring out. How will these apply in the future? Again, it'll be a very interesting thing to see the evolution as the days continue to unfold here.
And finally, David, before I let you go, you mentioned artificial intelligence, and there's so many ways to go about this artificial intelligence investment play. So when we look at the S&P 500 in terms of its performance for double-digit gains in terms of sector, we saw that utilities gained by a double-digit percentage point last year. And so whether we're talking about AI or other demand for energy, we know that utilities are a sector to watch. But of course, the Mag 7 name have been moving as we kick off the new year, and this does come as the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas gets underway as well. Right. But with the introduction of the Willow chip by Google, there's been focus on quantum computing, but in terms of what will really transpire, we have yet to know. We don't have a crystal ball. So what are your expectations here?
It's interesting. You got to kind of listen to the leaders in this space. So I look at a guy like Elon Musk, and he's saying there's a possibility that we could have actual robots that are available for purchase to the public by the end of 25 for about $40,000. I'll tell you right now, if he's got that available and that's real, Elon, put me on that list. I want one of those things, right? In fact, I'd look for two of them, but you probably want a dollar cost average into it because they'll get in better and better as time goes along. But the hope here is that we really can see some adoption, and that AI has the ability to make our lives more efficient. So as we look at aging demographics and we look further down the line, I think where you're going to really see AI adoption is you're going to see it in places where we've got aging societies, like Japan, where, getting much older, and so as the reproduction rate is lower, it opens up a lot of jobs, or fewer people to do those roles, but they can manage systems and different AI. I'll think this as well. In my state, Washington, the minimum wage is going up and up and up and up and up. And so where we were demanded to pay $10 initially, well, now it might be 20. And so if you're getting the same output from the same 15-year-old or whatever, you might say on the front end, machines are expensive. But then when you look at the price go up of the output not, you go, maybe I will start to look at machines that don't have to take breaks, that don't get sick, that don't have to, won't get a new job, that don't have to COVID quarantine, that will work around the clock and ultimately pay long-term dividends. And so that's a part of the double-edged sword of this, where it's a real blessing, but it can also be a curse and a challenge because it's going to replace a lot of jobs. And we're seeing that show up right now in the unemployment data. And the unemployment data is showing us that white-collar jobs are harder to find today. Hands-on skilled labor jobs, construction, mining, oil, plenty of them. We got drill baby drill that's about to happen too, and so there's going to be a big boom in those regards. So as long as you're willing to move, but you mentioned utilities and energy, and this is where it really comes down to Microsoft getting nuclear. I can tell you that I'm also very excited about hydrogen. Okay. I'm personally an investor in a company that is, I believe, going to literally change how we do electricity in our home and how we actually drive our cars and can do a number of different things. So this is an exciting time because of all this innovation and all these different ways that technology can enhance it. But yes, it comes with greater energy needs, greater data center demand, and so that also makes us vulnerable because infrastructure-wise, we're way behind.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that you're bullish on autonomous vehicles or Waymo and also Optimus from Tesla?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. I mean, so I have 2 Teslas. I also have some gas cars as well, but it's incredible technology. 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. I mean, I never thought I'd drive a car that fast, right? But no, there's going to be the autonomous car thing, and I'm starting to feel more comfortable with it as an owner. I can say that I can hit that auto drive, and I can have a lot more confidence today, even with lane changes or with just putting an address in and letting it get out there. Are there a few glitches? Sure. Very different, though, than what it was just even a couple of years back. So it's exciting to see these improvements, and you just think to yourself, where's it going to be in the next 5 months, 6 months, 5 years?
Well, David, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining me. And of course, we'll have to see what transpires, whether we're talking about crypto or autonomous vehicles. So thank you so much for joining me.
Appreciate the time, Remy. Thank you.
Thank you.